Today we learn a little bit about the interaction between endocrine glands and hormone cascades. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And when we study the endocrine system, our hormone system, we realize that we've got a lot of moving parts. I've mentioned that already. We've got, all the different not only the different glands, but the different hormones that they produce. And these hormones and glands all interact, and this one feeds back into this one, and this one comes back, and when that's done, it comes back over here. And even for someone who knows how to read the science and knows how to keep track of a lot of different parts of biological cascades, it is a very difficult study. And the tendency, of course, is to want to study one little part and then understand it. And then you go to another little part and understand it. And the bottom line is even all those bigger parts all interact and feed back. So it's extremely difficult to interpret data in terms of the studies. Can we be clear on this and this? Now, despite the fact that it is difficult, there's a lot of information that's known about hormone cascades, and how they work in our lives. So let's look at one of those. I'm going to do a series of these, what they call axes, hormone axes or endocrine axes. And one of them is the Hypothalamus-Pituitary-Adrenal, HPA Axis, okay? And this is a stress response system. It is the main stress response system, and so it's one of the most important ones for us to study. It has effects on everything in the body. It has effects on, the main stress response, but that stress response goes down and affects the immune system, affects reproduction. It affects the mood and the actual physical brain. We can actually literally kill our brain with stress. So we need to understand a little bit more about this system. And here's where now I want you moms to take a deep breath right now. Okay, so I'm gonna start hitting into something that's gonna be the mom guilt. Moms don't need any more guilt, but let me help you understand for each of us individually the impact of early life on this system. Okay, so when we have in the womb, high levels of stress that the mom is producing, that predisposes the infant to a higher stress response, okay? Actually, it does different things depending on the genetic background and all the rest of it. But for the most part, we could say that it predisposes the infant to be more stressed, okay? When we have a poor maternal care, or abuse, there's the difference between neglect and abuse. If we have a neglect situation or poor maternal care situation early in that life of that same child who had a stressful in utero, then it has a potentially permanent, and everyone wants to talk about these. Oh, it's permanent, nothing you do. You can always do something about it, okay? God has never left us out in the cold on things, especially in the area of healing. So don't ever give up on something. But they say, okay, it affects the person for the rest of their life. And so if the person's tendency, it could end up leading in the depressive category where the body does not respond to stress, or it could be in the hyper category where they over-respond to stress. But what happens at early life can have a dramatic impact. So, moms, ladies, that you're thinking about being moms, or you're in that mom mode, it is very important for you to manage your stress, with the baby in the womb, and it's very important for you to pause your life and take care of that baby in the early days. It is an investment that will last a lifetime physiologically and personally to that child, okay? And so there's absolutely no question about that. And that's not something that we even need research to show, right? We know this culturally. If you care and nurture that child, you're investing in, and it is a great benefit to all of society, okay? Now, so that's the message to moms. It's worth it for you to pause the life and pause your career and pause other things. That's why we have the care, where the post, whatever that's called. I forgot what it's called. The mom time when you can leave after the birth of a child. I don't know why I can't think of that. Anyway, so it's worth it to take that potentially take that hit in your career to take care of that child. Now, for those of us, now I'm talking to each of us individually, okay? I don't want moms to be guilty, so just let go of the guilt. To do, if you had a time when one or two of your kids or all of your kids had very big stressors in early life, okay, then teach them this, right? Have them show them this video, because now we're going to talk about each of us individually. I'm talking about you as an individual. If you had in the early life experience, which is to say in the womb where your mom was stressed, and you might not even know the degree to which your mom was stressed, and then had poor nurturing in the upbringing or abuse or trauma, then your body, your whole neurophysiological cascade stress response is predisposed for an aberrant kind of response, either too much stress or just numbed out and not responding properly to stress. And so either of those become problematic down the road and actually have been linked to disease patterns, everything from neurological diseases to immune diseases to, all kinds of things. So now the question is, do you throw up your hands and go, oh, well, my mom screwed me up, there's nothing I can do? No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to acknowledge that we need balance in certain areas. And here's why I love bringing my consciousness and essential oils to the package, okay? Because if I do some breathing, and I know that if I breathe up, and especially if I can use something, like frankincense or lavender, and I can breathe and imagine that going up and massaging the hypothalamus-pituitary gland, or I can work with relaxing my adrenal glands, then I can have an impact on healing this. And this is where I'm going to rely on a higher power. I'm going to ask God for healing. Okay, so maybe my system is all kind of messed up at a cellular level, at a genetic level, epigenetics, things have been methylated, genes have been turned on or off, and so, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't believe that. Okay, so I'm going to go for healing no matter what my background is. So I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to grab my frankincense. I just love frankincense for this kind of engaging my brain healing. So I'm going to use a few drops of frankincense. This is my Young Living frankincense bottle, which I'm getting, running out of. I'm going to have to order some more. But I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to imagine that frankincense going up and healing. I'm asking for healing. And so first of all, I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to imagine you don't even have to know what the hypothalamus is. You just say, God, okay, I'm going to imagine my hypothalamus. And so let's say it's a rose bush, my hypothalamus. And I'm going to breathe into my hypothalamus that's a rose bush. And I want to look at it, and actually the whole left side of it is kind of all decayed and broken. And so I'm going to now breathe in vitality, minerals from the roots, sunlight and energy to the leaves, getting the vitality, and I'm going to get that whole left side to open up and grow some new branches and to start blooming. Okay, beautiful, wonderful rosebush, that's the hypothalamus. Now I'm going to do that same thing for the pituitary. Okay, so now pituitary gland over here. Let's pick another color rosebush. That one was yellow. I don't know why, but that one had yellow roses. Now I'm going to pick a red rose bush for the pituitary. I'm going to breathe in and ask what it looks like. Remind myself that I'm breathing with the frankincense. Because when I smell the frankincense, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm breathing. Because if you're like me, you get distracted and think of something, all of a sudden you stop realizing that you're breathing and you're just going on to normal stuff. So that's why I use one breath and then one other breath. I just kind of keep myself focused. So I breathe into the rose bush, that's my pituitary, and it's got a core weakness. In the core of it, there's like a black mold or something that's in the middle. So I'm going to breathe in and get the root structure to pull nutrients, and I'm going to heal that core part with the energies coming in. Then I'm going to ask God for the energy that comes in my breath. God is sending me all the healing energies I ever need, and he's never withholding anything from me. So I'm inviting that perfect energy that God is giving me, and I'm reminded about this through the essential oils. I find those to be God's perfect energy, especially if they're authentic essential oils and not adulterated. So like Young Living. Okay, so Young Living's oils are just exactly what God made, and that's what we get. So that's what I love about Young Living. And I'm going to breathe that in, and I'm going to imagine that pituitary rose bush heal and get good, nice deep green leaves. The core is healing up, and get beautiful red flowers. It's having trouble blooming, so I'm going to breathe in the blooming components, okay? And so get more. So now little buds are coming up and the flowers. Okay, now the adrenal glands, right? So I've got 2 adrenal glands, but I'm going to do them both. I'm going to imagine them as almost two rose bushes growing together. And they're climbing roses. I don't know why. That's what came up. So for me, and again, you don't have to use rose bushes. It's just an image. You could do any number of types of images that you impose or invite to overlay with whatever organ you're breathing into. Okay, so I'm going to breathe into the adrenals right and left. And actually, both of them are pretty good. I've done this before. They're doing pretty good. So I'm just going to encourage them and see the beautiful flowers that are coming up. There's white on the left and a deep red crimson on the right. Oh, do they have white roses? I didn't know that. Anyway, maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be different. Anyway. Okay, so now I've got these 3. I've got the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal. Now I'm going to have them all talk to each other, okay? Now I've got this chain and interaction between them. And I'm going to imagine them together in the rose garden and just having them talk to each other and interact, very healthy and happy. Okay, and so again, I'm just using breath and I'm inviting God's healing. Now this is healing that we're talking about at a cellular level, at a DNA level. That's what I'm asking for, okay? Ask and you shall receive. So doing this kind of breathing, understanding that we have these axes, these interplays between organs. And it's like, well, the doctors don't even know how to fix this, okay? But God does. And my body knows what it wants and what it needs. So we can go straight to the source. I use breathing to do that. That helps me focus. You can do it however you want to, but understanding that you're probably not going to get your answers from the highest level neuroendocrine doctor, PhD, doesn't know the answers to this. Even the best of science right now is still trying to figure these things out. We see these correlations, you look at that, and you say, oh, that happened, but how to fix it? We're a long way away from knowing how to fix it. But you can, it's your life right now. You don't need to wait 15 years, 20 years, 30 years for them to figure out some drug that might numb out the impact of this over here. But that's hogwash. You have the birthright to be healed now, okay? And so that's what we're working on. That's what I'm inviting, is this healing to come in now, to heal my stress response, to heal whatever deficiencies were happened early in life, and to bring about a change in my physiology for the better right now. And I'm using essential oils, probably the world's leading expert on this area of how essential oils feed back and impact the neuroendocrine system is Jean-Claude Lapraz, Dr. Lapraz, and his endobiogenics. Maybe I'll find a link for that and put that in the thing. But he has written a textbook in French. I would love to have that textbook translated into English, and we could all study just that textbook for a year. In fact, that sounds like a fabulous course. So let's do that. Okay, but I'm talking about Jean-Claude Lapraz and his system called endobiogenics. Probably is the world's leading expert in understanding how essential oils impact the neurophysiological system, from how the hormone cascades and the neurological cascades and all of that, how those all interact, and where essential oils can be inserted in there to help balance those things. Okay, so, but I don't know that knowledge, but that's something that we could look forward to learning if we had access to his textbook. Okay, anyway, so again, I'm talking about doing some breathing to heal the Hypothalamus-Pituitary-Adrenal Axis, HPA Axis. There are many axes in the body for these different feedback loops, these hormone endocrine cascades. I'll probably do a couple more videos on some of the other cascades, the more important cascades, but recognizing that when we're talking about asking for healing and balance, if we have a little bit more specific, targeted, it helps our consciousness accept the healing that we're asking for. Does that make sense? God is giving us that healing all the time, complete and total healing. If you want to bypass any of these little details and say, forget it, I don't want to learn all that stuff about the little details of hormonal axes. I just want complete healing. Well, if you could figure out how to do that and let your consciousness actually accept that, then you would be completely healed in one breath. I'm not there. My brain still gets distracted, and I need proof. I have my ego involved. Okay? Happy wellness. Do your breathing. Keep your oils going one day at a time.